Now recording. So, for those of you who are who have had your CSU Unix accounts in previous semesters and have known how to operate them, the next few minutes will be rehash of things. Unfortunately, we have a substantial population of people in the class who only recently got their CS Unix accounts. In theory, everyone should have it now. If there's anybody who doesn't, please let me know immediately, and I will send word up the ladder that there are a few people who got left out. But I'd like to take a few minutes now to show you how CS Unix works, how to log into it, how to submit your work on it, so that you guys can submit your stupid assignments. Okay? For those of you who already know this process, you may go and get a coffee or something, or whatever. People are usually pretty good at doodling on their phones, right? So, you guys, you have official phone doodling time for the next 10 minutes or so. Okay? So let me start with a brief explanation of what CS Unix even is. CS Unix is an Apache server which is kept in a closet somewhere here on campus. Nobody knows its true location. In order to submit your assignments fully, you will need to submit them not only to Canvas, but you will need to submit them to CS Unix as well. The reason being, taking your PHP scripts and submitting them to CS Unix is deploying them to the actual real internet. Once you have put your assignment up on CS Unix, it is accessible from anywhere on the internet, right? This is real deployment, which is, it's an important part of the whole scheme, right? The whole point of being educated is that you can deploy things too, not just write them in static, right? So, a couple of very important things to note about CS Unix. If you're on a Mac, things work a bit differently. I'll go over some of the differences. If you're using the dreaded and blasted Windows operating system, things will proceed roughly according to what we have here. You have the option of doing this through Mohawk Apps or by downloading and installing the software on your own computer, which of course, it's trivial to configure. You don't really need to do much to do it. I'm going to be using the Mohawk Apps version because that's recommended for these lab computers. In both cases, you'll be using the same software, though. Whoa, that's not my number. There we go. That's my number. Is that my password? That is my password. Hey, there we go. So, if you have a fresh copy of a CS Unix account that you have never logged into before, which is going to be some of you, you will need this one, PuTTY. PuTTY is a Windows client for a Linux program called SSH, Secure Shell. If you're working on your own laptops, please log in to your lab computer and follow along with these steps. Either that or be really, really quick at downloading and installing PuTTY. Okay? So, PuTTY. Unfortunately, I can't really make this interface any larger, although I can make the interface, once I get into it, a bit larger. At the back, can you read this text if this part of the thing is relevant to you? Okay. Question?
Unavailable.
What's unavailable? Unavailable. Oh, that's because you have a Mac. So, how many Mac users do we have? All right. So this is your process instead. All right. Open up the application terminal. All right. You have terminal open? Yes? Good. Terminal? Type this and press enter. This will bring you to a bash shell, the born-again shell. Good. Next, you want to enter the following command. This is the actual program that PuTTY provides an environment for on Windows. SSH, your username, at csunix.mohawkcollege.ca. Now, your username is as follows. Username, lowercase s, lowercase a, followed by the 9 digits of your student number. All 9 of them. 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's case sensitive, so make sure that it's lowercase. Okie dokie? Good. If you have entered this line correctly, the terminal should take a moment, load a kind of wall of text legal notice thing from CS Unix, and then it will ask you for your password. Your password, by default, is set to capital S, lowercase a, underscore, and then the date of your birth, expressed in year, month, day format, numerically. That is your password. I'll get all of the Windows people caught up now. So, on the front dialog box, you will have a box for host name or IP address. In this box, please enter csunix.mohawkcollege.ca. Then click Open. It'll give you a thing here just saying no. Then it will prompt you with Login As. This is where you enter your username. I'm a little bit different from you. I am a professor, so I get my actual name as a username. But please, in this, enter this guy. So far, so good? Thumbs up for everyone who's following along. Anybody need assistance? All right. You first. Yeah, your student number. Press enter. Good. Yes, well, it's asking you for your password. Always read the prompt. Oh no, that's, okay, so this is a thing for Unix, right? The length of your password is information about your password. I should announce this to the whole class. So, some of you may notice that you seem to be typing for the password field, but it isn't actually doing anything, right? This is not an error. This is the way that Unix does password entry. You'll find it similar when you're trying to enter a pseudo password if you do other things. Unix considers the length of your password to be information about your password, so it hides it. It doesn't give you the asterisks over your password. It simply doesn't show you anything. So even though you're not getting asterisks, just enter your password, press enter, and it should work. Was that also your question?
It's also saying that connection is failed.
See, that's a different error. Are you connected to the network? Oh, it means you didn't enter your password correctly. So, here, you may press up. You can redo it. All right. Oh yes, and this will happen if you time out as well. And I just timed out, so yes. Anybody else need some assistance? All right. In theory, this was something they were supposed to show you a couple of courses back, but we are where we are, and we must deal with being where we are. Question?
I entered it correctly now, but now it's saying permission denied.
Yeah, that means you didn't enter your password correctly. Yeah. Keep trying until you get it. Make sure that you, like this is case sensitive, make sure it's capital S, lowercase a, underscore, year, month, day of your birthday. If you've already done this process, I sent an email out as well. If you've already done this process and reset your password, then you don't have to worry about this. So once you have successfully logged in, and once you have successfully entered your password, as it appears here, you will be, so when you connect with a fresh account, it automatically runs a program for you to reset your password to a new password that's not that one. This requires you to enter your existing password a second time, right? If you read the prompt, it will say something like, please re-enter your enter your password, enter your current password, something like that, I think. Right? You enter your current password, and then you select a new password that you will have to enter twice. The new password must contain one character from lowercase, uppercase symbols and numbers, I believe, and must be of a certain length. I can't remember what. But, general secure password rules. Select a new password, and then once you have done that, we can move on to the next step. Put your hand up once you've accomplished that. All right. Oh, I suppose that's difficult if people are asking for help. Thumbs up if you're good. All right. Thumbs down if you need help. All right. Yes, you're one of the PTech students. First, log into that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to aim to finish it this weekend. I'm going to release something this week. Because I figured that
All right. Come to the front, please. No, it's okay. terms?
midterms almost every day. I think we've been midterm for everything. No, me neither.
There we go.
A lot of 17, a lot of 3. So that week is a little fun. Well, he can only push, he can't push everything backward. Something is going to pitch. The question is, do you want to get pitched now or do you want to be pitched now? Once we go, no, let's stop.
Just have to know how to talk nicely. Alright, that's your attitude numbers. You password all over very bad.
I mean, they would not. Yeah. They're all going to be like in the same company.
That's what
Process is succeeded. Please try
I'm
that.
not scared of stairs.
Is there anybody else who needs a password reset? Did everybody get through? Did it work?
What did you do? What did you do? I'm married.
This might be old line. Oh. It's very racist. There you go. What's your current password? It's C8. Yes. And not super funny. Hold your horses.
I'm just reading the instructions.
I know I'm going to do it on board one.
Oh, you didn't figure yours out.
Hey?
Is the connection supposed to get closed out?
Yes, once you have successfully reset your password, the connection will close automatically. So, for Mac users, you will need to download and install a program called FileZilla, like Godzilla, but for files. For Windows users, you will need to launch WinSCP. This is a wrapper for the SCP program. Mac users, you also have the option of using SCP directly through the terminal that we were using earlier. Usage is a bit more complicated. It's useful to have FileZilla. Alright? Far be it for me to require people to do everything through terminal, much as I'd like to. Yes? Sorry? Whatever the most recent version is? Oh. Client. Client for sure. Yeah. Oh, you have logged in and you are now in a dash prompt. This is not what you need to do, so you can just log out. You need WinSCP. WinSCP. So, oh, goodness me. I have this still, there we go. So, WinSCP. When you open it, you shall see this. It may or may not be pre-configured with the host name If you've downloaded your own version, it won't be. If this does not say csunix.mohawkcollege.ca, put that in there, and then click Login. Say yes when it asks you if you really, really, really want to connect. Oh my goodness. Free. There we go. You will be prompted for your username. You will get the splash text from before. You will be prompted for your password. There you go. Once you have entered your password successfully, you will be presented with the following: a 2-panel interface. By the way, if you're using FileZilla, it looks very similar to this, just a little bit nicer. You will see this pane here. This is your local computer, that guy. This is your file system on your local computer. This is your home directory on CS Unix. Let me show you where to stick your assignments. So, very important information about CS Unix here. All of the files which you have here are private files. You'll notice there's a MySQL password in there. These are private files. Public HTML, however, that is exposed as public internet space. Anything that you put in public HTML is public on the internet. So don't put anything there that you don't want to be public. As my mother used to say, don't ever put anything in writing that you wouldn't want anybody else on the planet to see. You can see I have quite a bit of stuff in here. But you know, I'm a professor. So, in my case, or sorry, in your case, your assignment submissions will be placed in the private directory. Stuff that's in private is still public on the internet in a sense. You can still get to it from the internet, but you require CS Unix login credentials to do so. Specifically, either the credentials associated with your account, or mine. I can see your private directory, you can see your private directory, nobody else can see your private directory. Right? Because like I have to grade what's in your private directory, right? So, within your private directory, you will, for this class, create a new directory. You will call this new directory 10260, which is the numeric code for this course. It is empty. Number 2, you will create a new folder, or sorry, a new directory. In this directory, called A1. Make sure that the A is lowercase, please. It is into this folder that you will place your assignment submission. Your assignment submission, number 1, must contain all of your PHP scripts without the .txt extension. Just as PHP scripts, they must exist the way you develop them in XAMPP. You must also place the starter code files here. But when I say place the starter code files here, I do not mean the zip archive of the starter code files. I want everything decompressed. Alright? Everything has to be decompressed in order for you to actually be able to visit the web page. Make sense? Question?
I have an issue with the file system.
I'll come around and help people after I'm finished this explanation. So, in order to test your submission on CS Unix, you must go to the following URL: csunix.mohawkcollege.ca/tilde, your username. In my case it's Moore, in your case it will be this, /private/10260/A1. You see that it will prompt you for your login credentials because you're trying to access the private folder. Once you have provided them, it will show you your assignment as it loads when I go to grade it. Please note that in this course, there are substantial deductions available to anybody who submits work that doesn't actually even load. It's kind of in the same category of problem as submitting code with syntax errors in it. Alright? If it doesn't load on the server, it's not submitted properly. If you have not followed these instructions sufficiently correctly, I will send you an email asking you to correct your submission to CS Unix and providing you a 1-week time frame in which to do so. Past that point, we're going to have to talk about how seriously you're taking the course. Alright? Make sense? Any questions? Aside from people having particular specific difficulties? Any general questions? Okay. Who are the people who are having particular specific difficulty? You are having difficulty, you are having difficulty. Okay. Alright. Oh. Yeah, we've included your domain name. You're welcome. All right, and you have problems.
Oh, so I went to my password.
Okay. It's a new password. Okay.
Yeah, right. You want to go ahead and share your files for your house. You have to evaluate.
Oh, yes. Well, that is actually.
The other option is that you send your files to your house. But like, for example, you have to one.
All right. Okay. Sorry, I think I said 10 minutes, didn't I?
Yeah.
But that's just how long it takes to do that. On the plus side, when I do that in when I used to do that in client side when it was necessary, it took almost an entire class.
It's all class
Right.
app and HTML as well.
Yeah. So you'll agree that this is hopefully a less, anyway. And you know what the worst part is? I have to go to the bathroom. I think I have to step out to use the bathroom. So I think I'm going to do that. And everybody, just hang tight. I'll be right back. Awful.
It doesn't work.
Well, it is actually capital S. Capital S, lowercase a, underscore, then your birthday, your month day. Question?
Why does it not do
Because you're not accessing practice. Oh, I must have made a mistake now then. Yeah, I made this.
Way that that's file, but we have PHP extension.
Right. All right. Any further issues with CS Unix? All right. If there are, in fact, any further issues that develop, please send me an email. I'm happy to, come by the office. We'll fix it, etc., etc. But everybody should be able to get their assignments in at this point now. Even if you like are in a particular situation where your computer that you use for work doesn't support XAMPP because it's one of the Mac, Apple Silicon stupid things that doesn't support virtualization, which, it does. XAMPP is virtualizing, right? If you're in a situation like that, it is possible to do all of your development work on the server, testing your code on the server. Generally, it's not recommended to test your code on the deployment environment, but if that's what you have, that's what you have. So, all right. So, shall we do class? Is everybody's quietly furious that class hasn't started yet? Sorry. So, let's see here. I will reserve the question for after class. If you folks have got credit for client side and you have CS Unix access, how on earth did that even work? But that's okay. What version of JavaScript did you even take? But, that's okay. We'll keep moving. So, files. So there's another type of file that I'd like to go over with you before we sort of close things out on files. We will also talk about file uploads, either probably towards the end of this class and into the next class. So, just to recap, the last couple of classes we've introduced reading from and writing to files on the file system. Just so you know, all programming languages can do this, not just PHP, as you might imagine. You will find analogous functions in Java, Python, C, C#, C++. The whole gamut, right? Because all that these programming languages are doing is wrapping a few very well-trod C standard library functions, which are available pretty much everywhere. So, we talked about doing this with text files. We talked about doing this with JSON files. I would like to show you how to do this with CSV files. Good, good? Any questions? So, I didn't even wait. So, CSV files. So CSV data, first of all, can anybody tell me what CSV stands for?
Comma separated value.
Comma separated value. Very good. So we have a lot of values, and they are separated by vertical bar, in some case, but most of the time comma. So the thing about a CSV file is that there is no universally accepted standard for CSV files. It's almost too simple for that. Some people use commas, some people use vertical bars, some people use ampersands. There is a lot of different characters that could be used as the separator character. Generally, quotes are included in, sometimes even space is used, space or tab are used as the separator character. Generally, in a CSV file, if a value must contain the separator character, you put it in quotes, right? So, if I have name, comma, age, comma, occupation, and the name here is Charles III, comma, King of England. You'll notice, I don't know, age, old, occupation, king. There you go. You'll notice the comma, which is properly part of the value, we can't not quote that, because if we did, we'd end up with a CSV line with 4 values rather than 3 values. Now, CSV files can be ragged, meaning you can have different numbers of values in each of the rows. That's absolutely permitted, because there's really no strong restriction on a CSV file, right? But when you need to include the separator character as part of a value, you put it in quotes. So far, so good. Everybody, yeah, okay. So, I'm going to use the same approach that I used in databases to generate myself a little bit of random data. Let's ask the stupid chatbot. Hello, can you fabricate for me a CSV file giving, oh, I don't know, what should we ask the bot to, what statistics do you guys want to see? Statistics on what? Games? Video games?
Sure.
Sure. That'd be more interesting than actuarial tables. Do you guys know what actuarial tables are? No, actuarial tables are used by insurance companies to predict when you die.
I thought you were all like talking games, so it's like table. Like,
yeah.
game.
But why they bring
We'll do the actuarial tables now.
Insurance companies.
Yeah, actuarial
Insurance agents don't work
tables. What kind of actuarial table do I want? Oh, this is getting complicated. Actually, that will work. Okay. Probability of survival from age x to x plus 1. Probability of death between age x and x plus 1. That should like one is the inverse of the other, right? Obviously. Number of deaths between this. Life expectancy at age x, right? Give me all that data and rows for ages 0 to 100. We'll see what it gives me. So, in the meantime, please open Mohawk Apps and get XAMPP up and running. You guys want me to like post the file as an announcement? That'd probably be useful, right? Oh no! Oh, you gave me a Python script. Oh.
Yeah, that's
You stupid thing. Okay, fine. I'll run the stupid Python script, you stupid machine. There we go. Sure. Plunk. There we go. Running script. Did it work? It doesn't say that it worked. Did the stupid chatbot give me stupid broken code? Stupidly. This is painful. I didn't think this would be this painful. Where did this thing even go? Oh, and I hate Windows.
Oh,
Runtime warning, invalid value encountered implied. Save to, okay. Alright, well, it's, okay. It's just took a while, that's all. Alright. Users, I guess. There it is. Ta-da! Alright. So, don't be a noob. Don't open this with Excel the way that it wants you to. Edit with Notepad++. Boom! Now you can actually see what the CSV file actually looks like. Oh look, it like cut off the last one. That's nice. That's okay, we'll go to 99. There we go. Alright, here you go, your probability of death. Nice. So, at least according to ChatGPT. ChatGPT, when am I going to die? Here you go. So, announcements. Add announcements. This is when you are going to die.
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
didn't think I'd be learning this today in college.
Didn't think you'd be learning this today in college, eh? There we go. Well, you know, it's October now, which is the month of mortality. So, or the month of awareness of mortality, anyway.
Starting us off with a good scare.
It's Spooktober, right? So, there we go.
Existential dread is still terrifying.
Oh yeah. So, it's all very good, very well, but if it's not in the actual XAMPP folder, then what good is it to me? So please take the file that I have just published for each and every one of you, and place it into a folder in your XAMPP htdocs folder. Also start your Apache servers. There we go. So, I just want to point out, just for a moment, the incredible narcissism of this operating system. Microsoft Excel, comma, separated values. You cad. Absolutely abominable vanity on the part of Microsoft, as if they invented the concept of a CSV file, the most common data format. Possibly JSON's more common. The second most common data passing format between programs, and no, it's a Microsoft Excel. And didn't you know that? We invented everything. Alright, stupid Microsoft. I hate you, Microsoft. I hate you too. Well, you hate everybody, Microsoft. Yeah, I do.
No, they don't. They don't hate us. You keep seeing the messages about how they respect our privacy.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. No, see, here's the actual truth, right? They don't hate us because we, the common users, are beneath their contempt.
Yeah.
So, wow, I'm feeling a little spicy today.
Like sponges.
You know what it is? I'm starting to get a cold. That's why I'm feeling a little spicy today. So, I just closed Notepad++. It's stupid. There we go. I was referring to myself there. So, there we go. So, our objective is to take this data and view it in a web page similarly to how we did the JSON last class. Okay? So, we'll need a PHP script. This is probably too long a title, so you can shorten it. Death.csv. If you wish, you don't have to. So, yes, and don't forget to actually save the stupid thing. Call it CSV reader.php. There we go. So, when we were reading a JSON file, JSON files are very, like, kind of loosely structured with respect to white space. The white space could be there, it could not be there, you don't really know. The JSON parser knows how to sort that out, but we were really concerned with reading the whole thing in all in one go, leaving it to the parser to figure out what is JSON, what is white space, etc. With a CSV file, the structure of the file is a lot more prescribed. We can expect, for example, each line in the file is its own data record. In fact, you can think of the lines in a CSV file the same way that you would think of the records in a database, right? So, in this case, reading the whole thing all in one shot ends up being more work, because you then have to parse it all out. Whereas, we have a couple of convenient functions in PHP which allow us to read lines of CSV out of a CSV file in a lot less painful a manner. So that's the approach that we're going to do. We're going to do the fee-off while loop. Alright? So, but of course, before we do anything, we have to open the file. What function do we use to do that again? fopen, very good. We provide the file path. And what is this option? That's right. What mode are we opening the file in? In this case, we are reading the file, so we use R. R for reading. We now have an active file handle. My advice, anytime you open the file, close it immediately. Fclose, file handle, and then go back up a space, put your code in the middle. If you watch the way I code, like, very closely, you'll notice that I do this with braces as well. What I will generally do is I will, like, in one stroke, create the open and close brace and then back arrow once inside of the braces in order to write my stuff, right? There's a good reason to do this. It's mental cleanliness, right? Think about it this way. If you leave that fclose dangling, right, you are trying to make a promise to yourself, oh yes, when I'm finished all of this, I will remember to close it, right? It's the same thing with curly braces. If you don't close it immediately, you're making a promise to yourself, I'm going to remember to close this when I'm finished. Will you? Most of the time. Won't you some of the time? Yes. Because you are merely and only human. Personally, as much, this may come as a surprise to you, but I actually kind of like humans in general. But, you know, kind of as things, humans are kind of interesting. But, you know, you should still try to use the tips and tricks to, you know, aspire for a greater perfection than your brain would, you know, ordinarily allow you. So, when you open the file, close it immediately and put your stuff in the middle. This is a good way of remembering to do the thing you're supposed to do at the end. Okay? Tips and tricks. So, now that we have the file open, we want to read stuff out of the file. So, let's open up the loop first. Just by way of review, the FEOF function returns true if we have reached the end of the file. In Unix, probably in Windows too, but in Unix, there is a special character that occurs at the end of a file to indicate that the file is done. In this way, it's very similar to the null terminating character that you find at the end of strings, right? It is this character that this function is looking for. So long as we are not at the end of the file, let's do something. So, and now my memory fails me. I need the name of the function. Is it underscore CSV? No, or underscore. So, the function that we're going to use to get a CSV line from the file pointer is fgetCSV, which of course sounds very similar to fgetS, which is fgetString, right? You'll notice there are a couple of interesting options here. Anything that has a default value you don't have to provide, but you can if you want to. Notice here, you are able to configure what the separator character is. It defaults to comma, but if you're in a situation where we had vertical bar character as the separator character, this is where you would configure that. Make sense? Very good. So, line is equal to fgetCSV of the file handle. Default behavior for this one. Now, for the time being, I just want to see that it works. I'm going to echo these lines. Now, we can't echo them directly. We're going to be getting arrays out of this, so we can't print arrays directly in PHP. We have to JSON encode them first. And if we want to be extra fancy, we'll throw some break tags in there to make the data slightly formatted. Make sense? So far, so good? All right. So now, going to localhost :1080 /2025 the 1st of October. Going here. Let's see. Wait. Did I forget any semicolons? Nope. Okay. No. Oh, there you go. And there's our data. Very good. Now we get some stuff under here, which is interesting. Right? Now, if we take a look at the file itself, what's most probable is that we've got an empty line, two empty lines at the end of the file, right? So, the reason that we're getting null and false down here, we've got empty lines at the end of the file that cannot be interpreted as lines of CSV. So we've just discovered what fgetCSV does when it doesn't encounter CSV data. Make sense? Very good. So, just for cleanliness, delete those two lines, save her up, try her again, and you'll notice that right at the bottom, we no longer get those uncomfortable hanging values. Any questions? This should be fairly straightforward after all of the work we've done on file I/O so far. Yeah? Very good. Do you need me to show you how to put this into an HTML table, or can you put that together from the work that we did last class? If you want to see it, I'm happy to do it. Otherwise, we'll move on. Anybody want to see it? All right, we'll do it. So, the method that we'll use is pretty much the same as the method we used before. There'll be maybe one exception. So, the question kind of all comes down to, what are we replacing these two lines with, right? So, for my money, it's easiest to close off the PHP tag and work in HTML mode for those two lines. So, something goes here. We know we want to put this inside of a table. Perhaps we'll just echo table rather than swapping out of PHP mode to do so. Table and table. And while we're up here, perhaps we'll throw in a quick style block so we can actually see the table. Table, T-head, TD. No, TD will be sufficient, thank you. Border, 2 pixels, solid. Someone give me a CSS color.
Dodger blue.
Dodger blue, very good. You came prepared for this class, I see. So, now, we need to fill out the body of this while loop. If we consider the data as given to us, as currently printed, we notice a couple of things. Number one, we have a header row. It is possible that we might want to do something special for the header row. Perhaps put it into, a head element, T-head element, rather than a TR element, right? But if we take a look at the data, basically we have an array. All we have to do is iterate through the array, creating table elements. This is almost trivial. For each line as value, you know what? It is maybe, let's not break out of PHP mode. I know. I expected to be doing more of this. There we go. There we go. And of course, we can't forget to put the row in. Now, we should be able to see something interesting. As long as I don't forget a semicolon. Ah! Dodger blue indeed. Not completely terrible. Make sense? All good? So, a couple of points. Point number one. And this was something that I didn't quite emphasize quite so much last time. Let's say that right about here we have the following. Which hopefully everybody recognizes as an embedded script attack. Let's see, can we run this? Aha! Gotcha. What are we not doing?
Sanitizing the CSV when you pull it in.
We are not sanitizing the CSV. I would, however, like to point out what actually shows up in the file, like in the web page itself. The script tag, because it's been parsed as HTML, doesn't actually show up in the cell, right? It just kind of gives a blank, which is, interesting.
There's a spooky hacker ghost.
Yeah, it's ghost text.
October.
Yeah, spooky ghost October text. Yeah. So, before we print it, filter it. In this case, it should be, well, it's a little tricky, right? In our case, it looks like everything should be a number, but that's not going to work on the header row. So, if you wanted to do a fancy version of this that, respected the data type of each column, what you would do is you would write essentially a switch case here that would filter differently depending on what index you were on, but then you'd have to change this over from a for each loop to something with the index, right? Do you want to do that? Do you want to do a slightly more complicated way of filtering the data? Sure. Just to see what it looks like properly? Yeah, let's do it. So, all right. Let's convert this to a regular run-of-the-mill for loop. There we go. Now we have on. So the value, let's set it to something default so it exists. Now let's take a look at the data. We have essentially three types of data here. Right? Some of these fields are integer. Some of these fields are decimal, floating points. Some of these fields are string. It depends on where we are. For the time being, we haven't addressed the header row yet, so let's leave the header row to one side for the time being. But we know we need filter var something, filter validate int, and filter validate, I think it's float, right? Yeah, there we go. So what is it that we're filtering? Well, line at I. In both cases, we want to assign filter, thank you, there we go. We want to assign to this variable v. we need to select this based on what row we're on. There are a couple of ways you can do this. If I is equal to 0 or I is equal to 3, etc., right? This is like your basic standard approach that works but isn't very, elegant. This is your ugly but works solution, right? And incidentally, the type of solution I find most commonly in people's assignments. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just ugly. Ugly things can be beautiful. So, another way of doing this is to collect all of the values that are, of that type in a collection, right? You could say integer indexes. Take a look at your thing here, and you can say, okay, integer indexes include 0, 1, and not 2, not 3, but 4. And then float indexes equal the rest, 2, 3, and 5. Right? Then what's the is it array search? There we go. You can then use array search to search the array to see if the index that you're at is in there, right? This looks better. This is perhaps even easier to maintain, but basically we have put the programmer's convenience at the expense of runtime in a big way, right? However, if you were doing something like strings instead of integers, possibly, like you could. This is less bad, right? This looks and makes more intuitive sense. It would be if if array search I in integer index, right? Something like that. Read that correctly. Off you go. You'll notice, however, unfortunately, this operation can return false if it doesn't find the thing. What do we know about false and 0? They are the same. They equate to each other under weak equality, right? And what if the value found is the first value? What does this function return? It returns the index of the thing if you find it. So, if the thing you're looking for is at the first index, it returns 0. 0 equates to false under weak equality, right? So you would need to put in something like array search this is strictly not equal to false, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully. Are there any questions about this? So let me show you the way that I would do it, because you know me, I have a fondness for the older ways of doing things. I would use a switch case. The switch case would be a much more efficient way of going about it. Here, I'll comment that for posterity. Switch. switch. Actually, I'm switching on I. Case 0, case 1, case 4. Case 2, case 3, case 5. Zoom tight. And I would even say that that is quite as readable as the other way of doing it. However, it does rely on you understanding that if there's no break statement inside of a switch case, execution falls through to the next one. So in this case, if I is 2, execution falls through this, through that, into here, validates as float, break, and you're out again. Make sense? Any questions? So I'll poll the audience. Of the 3 methods that we just did on the board, how many people prefer the first way of doing it? I equals 0 or I equals 2, etc. How many prefer that? How many people prefer the array way of doing it? I know I've stated my preferences this way, but no shame. How many people prefer this way of doing it? Yeah, see? I knew you were an intelligent class. Because you agree with me. That's why you're intelligent. So, I'm kidding, of course. So, yeah, does that make sense? So now we're filtering everything according to, of course it doesn't do a darn bit of good if you don't actually use the value. But now, if we go back to here, there we go. This is, header row is a problem, but you'll notice we're getting a false there now, right? Because that number would not have, that script attack would not have validated as either an integer or a float, so it would return, it returns false, so you get empty string showing up. But critically, the script attack doesn't occur. Make sense? Shall we deal with the header row now? Yeah? Okay, good. So, in CSV files, header rows are optional. They could occur or they could not occur. It's always, always, always very important to actually look at the data that you're processing prior to writing the program. The header row basically means for the first run of the loop, we want to do something different from what we're doing for the rest of the loop. The easiest way to do this, in the personal opinion of your professor, is to use a flag. How many people are familiar with the term flag as it pertains to programming? Yes. The rest of you, let this be your introduction to flags. Flags are extremely useful. So, you encounter flags quite a lot. It's like there are a couple of common ways of using variables that have like special names. It doesn't mean that the variable is any different from any other variable, it's the way it's being used. For example, the loop variable in a for loop, right? That's a specific, like we have a specific term for it. It does a particular thing, but there's nothing about it that makes it special. It's just a variable that's being used in a particular way. right? Counters are the same way, it's just a variable that counts up or down, right? If you want, you can have the counter not behave that way, but then it wouldn't be much of a counter, right? But there's nothing in the language that encodes it that way. Flag variables are the same kind of idea. The purpose of a flag, right? The purpose of a flag is to keep track of some particular state, single piece of state, pertaining to how the program runs, right? So, for example, oh, and by the way, flags tend to be Booleans, right? They're Boolean variables. So, for example, if I'm running a search algorithm, one way of running a search algorithm is to quit the algorithm as soon as it finds the thing. Another is to let the loop finish, but set a flag if you find the thing you're looking for. Then you can return one value or another based on how the state of the flag. So, in our case, we're going to be using a flag for something a little bit different. Sometimes flags are just called flags, just like sometimes counters are just called counter. Set it true. There we go. Now, all of this is what we want to do on like a regular run. On the first run, we want to do something different. If flag do first run, else every other run. Now, it's very important to set the flag false after you've run it once. So basically, what this is doing, on the first run through, ooh, wait, whoa, hold up. I put this in the wrong loop. I apologize. It's supposed to go up here. I confuzzled myself. Most humble apologies to the class. Sort your braces out now, Dr. Moore. There we go. So the way that this flag operates, right, it's initially set to true, which means the first time this loop is run, we execute the first branch. This will be the branch that deals with parsing a header, right, parsing the header row. At the end of that, we set the flag to false. We don't touch the flag for the rest of the loop. That means that for the rest of the loop, we are executing the else case, right? You can use flags in loops, like if at the bottom of this I set the flag back to true, you could easily have it alternate one branch versus the other as it ran through a loop, right? In theory, this was the type of exercise that you were supposed to do in programming fundamentals. But, you know, so it goes. So in the first run, we want to process things a little bit differently, but largely the same. We don't need this because, as is generally the case with headers, everything is just a string. Filter, validate, or sorry, stand times special chars. And perhaps, rather than creating a table row, we create a t-head, sed, if you will. And now, oh man, undeclared variable. All right, line 20, let's see. Ah yes, you need to read the line. Otherwise, what are you even doing? I wasn't reading the line. In theory, this is something that you could take and put it up here. Here's a quick tip for simplifying your code. If you have a statement that is the first line of 2 branches of an if statement, you can always put it above, outside of the if statement. The same is true for stuff at the end of an if statement. If you have the same line as the last line of all branches of an if statement, you can put that thing after the if statement. Okay? Make sense? Any questions? Programming? Yeah. Everybody loves coding, right? There we go. And although we don't see any real difference here, if we take a look at the HTML source, you'll see that we've got a t-head with a t-row in it. I guess I must not have been, yeah, t-head, t-body. I'm not using it quite correctly. Ah, well, all right. So it goes. When you do it, use the table correctly. Make sense? All good? Fortunately, Chrome corrected my own silliness. So, good. I'm not boring you, am I? No? All right. So yeah, I will show you a function now. Function that is called fput_csv. Format a line as CSV and write to the file pointer. So this is the inverse operation to fget_csv. If you have an array and you want to write it into a file as CSV data, there's a function for that as well, fput_csv. Yeah. I don't know, I just wanted to say that one as an addendum. I think we could probably be moving along. Any questions about CSV files, file I/O as pertaining to them? Everything is clear as mud? All right. Good. So, we now enter into one of the rare occasions where I actually use the slides. So, file uploads. Dun 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 dun. So, File uploads are something that you have to do all the time. You, as students, I mean. Every time you submit your work to Canvas, you are using the file upload functionalities of that system. That is what we are talking about. Taking a file on your local system and sending it with the internet. Pardon me. So insofar as we've been very careful to swat down cross-site scripting attacks, both derived from incoming requests and from files stored on our own server, it is even more important that files uploaded to your server be free of viruses and other nasty, nasty things, right? I've heard tell of like viruses encoded in JPEGs and stuff like that. I don't know how that works precisely, and it may have been a thing, more of a thing back in the, back in the olden times. But, well, here's a good example. Microsoft Office documents, right? Microsoft Office documents are something that you use for file uploads every once in a while, right? For courses, you had to submit a docx file for tech writing, stuff like that. Not that I'm suggesting anybody do anything illegal, but you should never, ever open a Microsoft document that has been sent to you as an email attachment, right? Right? You want to know why? It's because macros on Microsoft documents, which are written using Visual Basic, which is a language I hope none of you ever have to use, even more so than PHP, if you can believe that. Macros embedded in Microsoft Office documents using Visual Basic for a period of time were the #1 vector for ransomware attacks. You guys know what a ransomware attack is? Yes? No? How many people do not know what a ransomware attack is? Good. Oh, sorry, you had your hand up, sorry. Sorry, you were kind of outside my scan zone. I apologize. So, a ransomware attack is basically where somebody encrypts your hard drive, right? And they say, if you want your files back, $50,000, and we'll give you the encryption. That's what a ransomware attack is. You remember the big cyber attack that happened on the city of Hamilton? That is, they are still dealing with the fallout from, right? Like, what is it that's still down? It's the bus system. The bus call-in system is still down, I think. Yeah?
This is just an anecdote to that.
Yeah.
When that happened, I was actually doing my volunteer hours for high school.
Oh, wow.
So I just got an email saying, the tech literacy program, to help with the residents, it's gone. We can't use anything.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's instructive to recall all of the things that the city of Hamilton lost during that ransomware attack, because basically, it seems like the hackers themselves didn't realize how badly they hit the city of Hamilton until, as time went on, they were like, oh, well, I guess we could ask for more money then, hey? Parking tickets, gone. If you had a parking ticket, close to or around the time that the hack occurred, the parking ticket database was destroyed. Public vaccination records were destroyed. The system for getting people into like pools and stuff, like community centers. For a period of time, admission into community pools and other community recreation centers was free because they had no way of, like, the system was down. They couldn't take people's money, right? So it was just pools for free, yay! Oh, what else? The library system was destroyed. It took a very long time to get it back online. What did I say was still down? Oh yeah, the bus. There used to be a service in the city of Hamilton. You'll still see these numbers on the bus posts. It's like, call this number to find out when your next bus is going to be. It was very useful, right? That was a very useful thing. Destroyed. Oh, what else? What am I missing? You guys must know. Yes?
My work actually got like a ransomware attack right before I started working there. And my cousin, like, they offered like a 1-year subscription on like some service to check if like someone's using you to like make credit cards and stuff like that.
Wow.
But I don't think they like broadcasted that publicly.
Yikes. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what else in the city of Hamilton would have been destroyed. Well, at any rate, it was a really bad attack, and like a whole calendar year later, it was still like, yeah, we really haven't recovered, because like they ended up just like they couldn't pay or wouldn't pay the ransom, so they just lost all of these computers, and they had to rebuild the whole IT infrastructure from scratch, and that's still an ongoing process. So yeah, files can be nasty. I'm not saying that that was caused by a bad Word document, but it could have been, right? So when you're accepting files from the user, you must be cautious, and never, ever, 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 for never, ever trust the user. So, that being said, sharing files is kind of a big part of the internet these days, right? Like if you consider, you know, even, for example, YouTube, right? The thing that I deliver the lecture recordings to everybody with. I'm sure nobody uses YouTube for any other purpose than that, right? Just strictly academic uses. So that's a big file sharing app for one particular type of file, right? Instagram kind of boils down to the same thing, except it's still images, right? TikTok boils down to the same thing, except it's for short videos instead of short and long videos, right? Like, file sharing is a big part of the internet, right? So we can't avoid the issue. So we have to learn how to do it. It's more complicated than anything we've done so far. So, file uploads are implemented by putting the binary file data into the post body. So, basically, you remember, I hope, the difference between the header and the payload, right? When you're doing file transfer, the payload is the file you're transferring. Make sense? You'll find out why I try to use these notes as little as possible. It's like, that's irrelevant, that's irrelevant, that's irrelevant. So, in this procedure, we make no distinction between binary files like images and text files like user-uploaded CSV files. So, step 1, the client initiates a post request. You may have an HTML form with an input field of type file, which allows users to select a file for uploading. Note that the form must have an ENC type of multi-part / form data. It is possible to upload multiple files in one request. Remember that you may not mix file input tags with other input tags within a single form. So, okay. Let's see, you're going to give me a... This form is your example code for something that allows us to create that post request. So let's yoink the code. Oh, by the way, you guys remember what this means in HTML? Comments? Good? Very good. Copy. Make a new file. File, new. Save it as upload.html. There we go. Put this form inside of an HTML body. You know, all the basic stuff. Here we go. Then upload.html. There we go. I'm sure you've all seen the choose file button before, right? When you click it, it opens the open file dialog. You select a file and then you send it. Just for the sake of interest, let's do this Python file. Inspect. Let's take a look at the network packet when we send it. So, you can see that the packet has returned a 404 not found. This is to be expected. We are targeting a PHP script that does not yet exist. However, if we take a look at the payload, you'll see that we have user file, which is being viewed as, it contains binary information. It says it's binary anyway. It's not actually a binary encoded file. Image files are binary encoded files. But it's treated as a binary file because it's a file. Basically, this thing does not want to have anything to do with trying to interpret what it is, even if it's only a plain text file like a Python script. Make sense? All right. So, we then create this PHP script. I named mine accept file.php. There we go. If we take a look here, let's just copy the code in. There we go. Save it. Failed to open stream. Okay. Oh, yes. So, what this script is expecting to see is a folder called uploads, which is generally good practice, right? You want to take your uploads and put them somewhere. There we go. File is valid and was uploaded successfully. If we take a look inside of the uploads folder, you'll see that the tables file, which was just uploaded, is right here. Boom. There's the file. We have just successfully sent a file to the server through the internet. So, that being said, why this works is something that we'll probably have to discuss, next time to do the diagnostic, to do the vivisection. You guys know what vivisection is? It's dissection on something that's alive. So, we will dissect this code. We'll kill it, then we'll dissect it next class. Sound good? Shall we move on to databases then? Very good. All right. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Sorry it took so long to get everybody up on CS Unix. And I include in that apology the people who are now on CS Unix.